Item action for proposal submitted to the Calexico, City of Calexico in response to request for proposal to asylum seekers. ¿Dónde está aquí más?
And the staff report that you have, there were some dates. On December 29, 2022, the City Council adopted a resolution proclaiming the existence of a local emergency due to the release of additional number of migrants seeking asylum in the United States. At that time, we asked the County of Imperial to provide us assistance, and they were able to provide us assistance on a temporary basis because asylum seekers is not something that the county is in charge of dealing with or using funds that are meant for residents of Imperial County. Social services provide services to residents in Imperial County, not to asylum seekers. That's not the scope of work that they have. But still, they provided assistance. Later on, we were put in a position in which we have to address the issue because we have children and adults on the streets. And so the City Council approved later on a letter to be sent to Senator Padilla in April 27, 2023, about more than a year, to request $2 million among other services. In January 2024, January the 24th, the City Council authorized the city manager to sign an allocation, to sign basically the agreement of $2 million. On February the 21st, the City Council, during a regular meeting, have a discussion about the proposals for the services to be provided to asylum seekers. Direction was given to staff to release a request for proposals and to look for agencies, nonprofit organizations to handle the program because we really don't have the staff to handle the program ourselves. Many times, Fire Chief, Acting Fire Chief Ainsa, in the middle of the night, and Chief Orozco, and even Mr. Legaspi, when he was the chief, they were at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, trying to figure out how to relocate the families that were left on the streets. And so I mentioned to the City Council, we're not in the business of doing that job. So you approved for us to release a request for proposals, and we did. Now, a request for proposals was issued, and that request for proposals was from, let me see, it was released in March, and the deadline was April 4. We held a Zoom meeting with nonprofit organization explaining the following, and the proposal over here and the staff report is a copy of the request for proposals. The request for proposal was to provide services to asylum seekers, and based on the discussion that we have in the previous meeting, and it was to provide meals, to provide assistance, case management, direction, so they can leave the city. Unfortunately, we only received one proposal, and that's from the Methodist Church. And the request for proposals, we also mentioned, because we're not the experts, we requested that any activity, besides the activity and the request for proposals, that they submit that one on a separate presentation. So one is to respond to the request for proposal, case management, transportation, translation, and meal services, and any other activity, medical, maybe testing for COVID, maybe shelter, that there will be a separate item. And so for the council to review and make a decision on whether or not they would like to approve additional services. And so that's how we put together the request for proposals, and it's in the in the report that is attached as an attachment 1. You can see in the email, it was an email from me to several nonprofit organizations, Catholic Charities, we included this, the Neighborhood House of Calexico, the Brown Bag Coalition, several nonprofit organizations, but the Methodist Church was the only one that submitted a request. They submitted 2 proposals that are included in the package, and I have Pastor Avendaño here today, and in their proposal program number 1, it talks about how can they provide services for $27,000 a month, in which they will provide rapid response to them, but they will multiply this money to provide up to 200 asylum seekers with other fundings. They're basically going to use this funding as matching funds to bring more funds so they can provide the services. The second proposal is for $17,987. That proposal is not in the scope of work. It's something that they came up as an idea of how to provide those services. But it's also mentioned that the second one cannot act unless the previous one is approved, which is plan number 1. As mentioned before, and the Chief Orozco was here, and at that time was Chief Ainsa, we the staff, we don't really have any information to provide you. We don't take sides of what the City Council is going to decide. We just follow the direction of the City Council. And so that's what we did. We presented to you those proposals for the City Council to consider what they would like to do. I would like to invite Pastor Alvendaño to talk about his program, if it's available, how one program ties to the other program. I want to mention also that the City of El Centro has, through Catholic Charities, what is called a day center. Sometimes, during this, specifically in the summer, what we do, when we find people on the streets that are dehydrating, we take them to the center over there in El Centro, and they have to leave that premises and come back in the afternoon, because it's not a shelter. It's just a day center, meaning during the day they get services, but at the end of the day they have to leave the premises. And we don't have that type of facility in Calexico. As you may recall, the shelter for the men's shelters closed about a year and a half ago. And Neighborhood House of Calexico did not submit a proposal. Our hope that they were going to provide a proposal, because they're actually providing shelter to asylum seekers. They're continuously doing it. The only issue they have is that they have to ask them to leave the premises at 6 o'clock in the morning, because they have to use the same facility for other services. So sometimes we have the people on the streets. I don't know the reasons why they didn't submit a proposal. They wanted an extension, but like I said, we have been sitting in that program for a while because of the lack of capacity to run the program, to be honest. And I myself had to come to on a Saturday and a day off to have the meeting, the Zoom meeting, and to release the proposal, to prepare that request for proposals. And so I don't know if Pastor Alvendaño may want to talk about the difference between the base program, and the alternate program.
Thank you. And just to clarify this, aside from my public comment, right? Just to make sure, because I'm definitely gonna go more than 3 minutes for that. To clarify about what the Methodist Church has been done through this ministry with migrants. We started directly in Calexico, at least. Many other regions in U.S. Thanks God for that. But since 2018, here in Calexico, directly assisting, receiving donations from members of churches like you, Church Commerce, sending clothing, hygiene products, non-perishable food or food for emergency, and other things, financial donations through the Methodist Church itself. So since 2018, we have functioning in what it is basically described in the proposal number 1, which is providing the most needed and emergency elements for a person being unassisted in the street, specifically asylum seekers in this case, which is the proposal. Mm-hmm. So the proposal itself is a ramp up of what we have been doing uninterruptedly since 2018 in the city of Calexico. Thanks God for your hard donations, like citizens, families, taxpayers like you that have the heart and compassion to share with us. So through that program, we have been active, like it is described in the proposal, an average of 40 individuals per month. Sometimes it has been family units, which is a little, the logistic, it helps because it is more people on a single run, maybe manage one or two hotels instead of spending a single room for each individual, right? So, but as well, we have been the only ones assisting for a long time detention center individuals being released, because some of the criteria from some other organizations don't fit the assistance for individuals being released through our detention facility located in our county. So in general about the proposal is, and I invite you please read it. It is a big document, but only first 8 pages is about the description of what it is, the operation in general of what we do and what we are proposing to the city as Methodist Church. It was well mentioned, we are not proposing for other things that are important, and I like to highlight that. Some of us maybe would like to have a shelter like in other cities. Maybe we won't. It's not our proposal. Maybe others will like to have a 24/7 assistance. It's not our proposal. We wish we could be for them 24/7. It is not under the proposal. We are not doing like a full-time hiring personnel, a specific facility down there in Calexico or other town in Imperial County. It is not that proposal. The proposal, please read it, is that immediate food for them, to be there immediately in companionship, translate, facilitate for those that thankfully they have the funds to travel to their next destination and comply with the ICE or DHS assigned place for continuing of their process for asylum. So believe me, none of them, I haven't heard a single individual from hundreds of cases telling me, I'd love to stay and be part of the community because it's very nice and it's where I want to stay. Number one, they have to comply and go to the final destination, assigning their paperwork, which is in a different city other than a city in Imperial County. So all of them have to move according to what it is on the paper. I haven't seen a court in Imperial County for an individual. Yeah, I know there can be, but I haven't assisted an individual directly. So in generalities, that's proposal one. It has hotel lodging proposal for 24 up to 48 hours of an individual that it is in emergency, like Esperanza described already. We received calls last year and years prior from people in the business in Calexico. You know, there's a family in the street. Can you do something? We have received calls from other nonprofit institutions locally asking if we can help and assist a family or individual, or even fire department or police department. And we have done it with our deep heart of compassion and mercy, and we will continue to do it. So there's a proposal on these specifics of what we are expertise in doing it, and with the true inspiration of a church that it is here and has been here in Calexico for over 100 years. Product of that is our beloved Calexico Neighborhood House, founded by Methodists here in Calexico, when global ministries from the Methodist Church were able to found and start Calexico Neighborhood House in our city. So we have been it is our prayer to continue to be a blessing for each one of our citizens. But unfortunately, this situation with those lists, like the immigrants we are having through the federal process, is something we just can't live with. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the news. I don't see San Diego, Dallas, or El Paso, and other cities being able to desist 100%. I know there's a fight in some of those. 100% to say, I avoid asylum processing in my city. I haven't seen it directly with that impetus. So that's not going away from our city, unfortunately. We are still seeing those families requesting assistance, calling our phones, texting us, sending WhatsApp to us, and see if something can be done for them through these or different nonprofits or charity institution in Imperial County. And to end about the description of the proposal, number 2 is a secondary proposal in addition to number one. Why? Well, this is a proposal out there. It can be accepted or denied, but we have seen the need that there's people that eventually, yes, they will go out from the city. Maybe they'll have a flight in 24, 72 hours, but they need food. The hot summer is coming. We're going to be on 120 degrees, and we don't know what's going to happen with individuals and families with babies or single men or women being out there in the streets, jeopardizing what's going to happen with them if they're not prepared, if they don't have the money, if they don't have a flight ticket or bus ticket. So for that response, there is a proposal for day center, like it was described in the different center. It is only during the day activity that the Methodist Church is willing to open their facility for only that reason, for the specific number described in the proposal. A Monday to Friday activity from 10 to 5 p.m. for up to no more than 50 individuals in a single day. In generalities, that's what I can share from that proposal. I know it's not a solution for all the needs for asylum seekers. You might see San Diego, LA, and other cities around. There's so much more needed than just that. That's the proposal from Calexico. Like I said, it is not the final solution. It's a part of the solution. We want to make a difference for those that are in need in our community.
I received online public comments, 17, all in favor of item 23, and they are from Sister Suzanne Japro, Reverend Sandra Olwine, Bishop Dottie Escobedo Frank, Janita Figueroa, Effie Urcanur, Reverend Patricia O'Reilly, Barnett Cohen and Daniela Panay, Guillermo Torres, Hilda Cruz, Rick Fain, Reverend Dr. Denise Barnes, Josh Lopez Reyes, Reverend Dr. Joel Ortiales, Megan Zavala, Dory Foch, Paulina Reyes, Sister Phyllis Selmer. And then we have Baldwin Avendaño.
Thank you, and City Council members, a blessing to be with you, and thank you for your patience and openness to receive this proposal from our church. And city residents of Calexico, our blessing and our prayer is to always be here for you as we have been for over 100 years in Calexico. My prayer is that these are changing times for you. I pray that you and your next two colleagues are, according to the scripture as we read, in the example of Jesus Christ himself, that he came not to be served, but to serve others. And that's my prayer for you, that you find the heart of Jesus, not only the wisdom, not only the mind of Christ for you to handle business, but the heart of Jesus to see for his people. And residents of Calexico, it's my prayer that you find comfort in Christ. These and different issues, may this transition we are going through, may help us all to have that merciful and grace heart that Jesus had for us. I'll just would love to share. I know preachers are invited to do no more than 30 minutes in our churches, so I'll try to be super briefly and ask God for multiplying my minutes like his miracle he did with fish and bread once. It is said in, and I learned it in Spanish, when we show some images, it speaks more than 1,000 words. Así que imparto 4 imágenes solamente de cientos de casos que han pasado por Calexico, but at least these images will give you a general idea of what we are seeing in our streets if you haven't been able directly to probably witness some of these cases. This family came in 2022, a woman that was being abused by his husband, a family from Jalisco, and she was severely affected by his husband. She flew from Jalisco in order to seek for security and safeness for her and her 2 children. She traveled to Mexicali, and was able to request a formal audience of asylum. That was processed through Calexico, and we were able to assist her in a place, sent it to LA, where she was waiting faithfully for her audience, and she was present on time for that audience. We were blessed to help that family. On the same year, 2003, fall 2003, 2023, a family from Colombia, they were granted asylum on October 2023. Actually, that's the facility of the church. They were there sharing with us their story. They were assisted by Catholic Charities first, but since they don't have the logistic to transport people from this place to another, we were able to be there for them. They went through Mexico in summer that year, and it took 3 months for them to take asylum. That wasn't because they just were wasting their time over in Cancun in Mexico visiting. The reason for that is because they were kidnapped by cartels in Durango prior to having even a chance to ask asylum. The family, the husband and wife, two beautiful twins, sisters, and a young three-year-old youngest sibling, they were all supported to go to their final destination through this program, and thankfully with other institutions that work in partnership with us. The third family I want to share you with, and actually the only member that you may be able to see is my beloved wife, that it is there, carrying our youngest asylum refugee process through, at least through our cases that we have assessed. The youngest, a two-month-old baby that was assisted in January of this year from a Peruvian family. They were processed through Calexico very differently. Through the emergency in Jacumba, located in the desert, when you saw some tarps there, if you were able to see going to San Diego, this was one of those families or individuals in the cold, freezing temperatures, sitting there in the desert waiting for a fair chance to ask asylum with the correct process through CBP or border agents. Thankfully, they were able to have an encounter with an agent and were processed. And you'll have the question, why Jacumba here? It happens. We are not only processing port of entry, we are not only receiving people out from the detention facility through the federal system, even we have been receiving individuals or families from other cities. So if the state is doing something for the city and the emergency, I urge you to really consider that very importantly. And finally, last family that I want to share, an Haitian family that came in 2021. Very interesting case. The wife was pregnant on her 8th month already. In an emergency response, thanks to our partners, Border Compassion, CLU, that time we're able to put a very expensive flight as an emergency because she was almost done at the limit of the protocols to fly as a pregnant person. Very fortunately or blessed, she was able to get to her final destination. 10 days later, they sent me the picture of their newborn baby, a U.S. citizen like you and me, because of the privilege that our Constitution and rights in America have given us. He was born in U.S. soil, and he is an American person. These are part of the different and many stories. And when I hear all the different comments and what we can share as church with your friends and families about this emergency, we try to judge people from other places. I know we are all probably trying to find better processes and politics to handle migration. We would love to have different processes for our migration system or federal system. Unfortunately, we haven't been able, right, all of us, to, with our politics, with our governments, to do something better than what we are doing. But I'll leave you this last question in your heart and just make a very honest answer to yourself. If any of these individuals was your hermana, was your hermano, your children, your own children? Will you tell them, you don't have a place here? Stay there in your country. Stay where you are. There's not a place for you here. If it was your own direct relative. If that was like the command in the Bible, we said, loving God first, but that neighbor next to you. If it is our children asking something just to eat that day, and you are just moving, you know what? We just need to move. There's not even something that I can take to feed my children. Won't you take decisions like this? So I invite you to consider tonight this reflection that maybe if you are not first generation, but ancestors or fathers, grandparents were the first ones that came to America, because maybe I can run an ancestry DNA test right now on all of us, but how many of us will be 50 plus Native Americans from here? Just reflect on that. We all have been blessed, if you want it or not, because of migration. So it has been part of us. And that's probably why many of us, we are here, because of the blessing that God has given us to live in this place called earth, with the blessing not only to breathe, not only to think, to have reasoning, but to have an understanding of God's spirit and wisdom, that He always loved us and had a place for each one of us. May God bless us, and I invite you to have a heart of sincereness, mercy, and grace for this situation in our beloved Calexico. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Hilda Cruz.
Buenas noches a todos. I'm Hilda Cruz, and I drove here for 4 hours because this is such an important issue for me. I am a first-generation migrant woman from Mexico, and I come from a place where my people used to come here when something was happening down south, and then we were able to migrate because the border was not keeping us apart. The issues of asylum seekers is dear to me. I've been working on this issue for many years. I am now the regional director with Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, an nonprofit organization that works with a lot of different faith communities and respond to the issues of refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrants who are criminalized and placed in detention. Part of my work these past, I don't know how many years, has been working with people like Pastor Baldwin, Border Compassion. It has taken many nonprofit organizations that are not here in Calexico, but are willing to come and support, because this is important work. The work of being able to navigate the crisis that push people out of their lands, and then they come seeking our help here in the US. For many years, we have advocated for the state of California and for the government, the federal government, to respond to this crisis so that it does not become a burden just on churches, congregations, and pro-immigrant organizations. It should be something, if our government is placing that border wall right there, they should be able to also help process the people that are seeking our help and desperately need to be received. So I was very happy to hear that there was $2 million that was allocated for the city of Calexico, and I thought, wow, if so many things have been happening without all of those fundings, I can just imagine what that money could do. It saddens me today to hear that only the United Methodist Church applied. Why? I have no idea, but I firmly support this funding, and I invite you today to keep it, to begin it to begin allocating it to the United Methodist as seed money that will grow, and hopefully more funding will come down and be able to support the man-made crisis. It was a man-made crisis at the border. We make it. But we do have the funding, we do have the will, and we have what it takes to be able to respond to our brethren who are coming seeking our help because they're being pushed away for various reasons, many, many reasons. Anyhow, my ask today is please keep the funding, please pass it through. Start with whoever applied for it and invite others to apply for some more because it is very much needed. Thank you all for being here and for sitting these long hours too. Thank you.
Mateo Mimia.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Mateo Mamea. I'm the pastor of a church right up the way, an hour and a half in Borrego Springs. If you don't know about Borrego Springs, it's only about 1,500 people during the summer months and about 35 during the season. We met Pastor Baldwin when I first got appointed, and we started talking about the different issues facing the children in our church specifically, who would go south of the border to visit family, and they were receiving tardies, and trying to work on a solution in that way. It was around that time, and actually May 10th was when the letter came out, and when the conference, California Pacific Conference of the United Methodist Church, had someone approach me and asked if I'd be willing, if Borrego Springs Community United Methodist Church would be willing to be a placement to help move the people along their journey. I asked my congregation first, and with a resounding, heartfelt, filled with love, they said, yes, bring them. One of the most amazing things about churches is that we are everywhere. There are buildings and infrastructure all over the state, all over the county, all over the globe. And each church also has specific ministries that are almost tailored towards helping people like this. We have pantries for food. We have closets filled with clothes. Some of us have showers available for people that are unhoused. Some have room for bedding. We noticed that we had all of these things at our church. And Pastor Baldwin proposed a 72-hour holding space so that he could maximize his funds, so that when the tickets came up and they were too expensive, but if he waited another week, he would have funds. The money would go further by buying those tickets later. But he needed to get a partnership among several of our other churches. So I would hold them for 3 days at Borrego. Then they would go to Baldwin Park or maybe to their next destination. But because he was able to do that and to manage those finances and those logistics, now we have been building up a network between Baldwin Park, between Borrego Springs. There's a Presbyterian church in Indio I have to go talk to. And it's not just United Methodist Church. In Borrego Springs, our small little town, we have a street called Church Lane. There's 4 churches on it. There's an Episcopal church, a Lutheran church, a Catholic church, and a Methodist church. We also have the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ and a Baptist church right across from the high school. All of these churches had sent volunteers and members to help serve 3 meals a day, to do their laundry, and then to do the bedding. So we are able to house and do this, and it builds our community. I would plead with you. I mean, we have been doing this already without these funds. We've been scraping together grants, asking our congregation who have been giving so freely. But how amazing would it be to be a part of a solution? To be a part of something as on a city level, to say that this city cares about their peoples that are coming across. I love your mission statement. Absolutely love it. It shows compassion. It shows a togetherness. And it also builds with us whether you're in a faith community or not. There's still a civic mindedness about being together and being willing to look after one another. And it's just an amazing thing. I hope that we can continue to grow our network, and we hope that you're able to allocate those funds for the purposes of the Calexico UMC, so that I would be just amazed to see what's to come next.
Thank you.
Janita Figueroa.
Buenas noches, council, audience. My name is Janita Figueroa. I'm a resident of Imperial County and a legal assistant at Al Otro Lado, where I work firsthand with people who are detained at the Imperial Regional Detention Facility. I'm here tonight in support of Agenda Items 23, two proposals to assist migrant asylum seekers by expanding on the already existing services that are provided by the United Methodist Emergency Border Response Network and to create the Migrant Day Center. Since September 2023, Al Otro Lado has provided emergency assistance to individuals and families subjected to open-air detention near Jacumba and subjected to street releases near San Isidro in San Diego County. In this work, we documented over 1,400 cases of families separated. California has recently become the busiest sector of the US-Mexico border for new arrivals. It is therefore crucial that service providers collaborate with all levels of government to provide the necessary resources for newly arrived migrants, the majority who are transiting through this region. In our work in San Diego County, it is not uncommon for family members to be separated from their loved ones they traveled with across the border, and a part of the family group is transferred to the Imperial Valley for release. As one of the lead organizations of the California Welcoming Task Force, we recognize the need for sustainable and effective welcoming infrastructure to mitigate the impacts of street releases in communities like Calexico. Voting yes on the item will allow the United Methodist Church to expand their much-needed work as a part of the regional effort to coordinate across sectors to safety and expeditiously assist asylum seekers passing through Calexico. Rejecting this proposal for increased resources will therefore impair the ability for service providers to coordinate family reunification, and the problems will persist in the community. Asylum seekers will remain in the city for extended periods of time, which is what we understand residents do not want. We also do not want that, and families want to be reunited. As mentioned earlier, the majority of people, and I think all people, have no intention of living here in the Imperial Valley. They just want to be reunited with their families where they are designated to go. Therefore, I urge you to vote yes on this item to prevent asylum seekers from ending up unhoused in the community, so that community-based organizations can welcome new arrivals with humanity and dignity. Thank you for your time.
Lupe Quintero.
Mayor Romo, City Council. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lupe Quintero with the California World Legal Assistance, a nonprofit legal firm that provides free legal services to low-income communities throughout the state. Our local office is located at 449 Broadway in El Centro. Muy buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Lupe Quintero, con la Asistencia Legal Rural de California, CRLA. Somos un bufete de abogados no lucrativa, cual provee servicios legales gratuitos a las comunidades más necesitadas por todo el estado. Nuestra oficina está ubicada en 449 Calle Broadway en el centro. CRLA is here tonight to thank the city manager and the city council for all your hard work that went into applying for this asylum seekers proposal, and to congratulate you for having been awarded the incredible amount of $2 million for the work you are determined to accomplish. CRLA sees not only the importance of the legal process to be implemented, but also recognizes and applauds your kind gesture to helping those in such dire need. Asistencia Legal está presente para darle las gracias a la administradora de la ciudad y Concilio por todo su empeño en llevar a cabo una propuesta para servicios a los que solicitan asilo y decir felicidades por recibir una cantidad increíble de $2 millones para el trabajo que están decididos en cumplir. Asistencia Legal no únicamente capta la importancia del proceso legal que se pondrá en práctica, sino que reconoce y aplaude su gesto tan amable en ayudar los más necesitados. CRLA is well aware of the trepidation that many of you are feeling due to the fact that asylum seekers and migrants are being released into the city by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office. It is a very real concern, and as we understand, this proposal is mindful to the protection of its Calexico residents and will provide temporary shelter for asylum seekers and help prevent homelessness. The proposal will also provide other needed services to make asylum seekers transition out of the area as rapid as possible. Asistencia Legal está consciente de la ansiedad causada por la Oficina de Aduanas Protección Fronteriza de los Estados Unidos en liberar los que piden asilo y a los migrantes. Pero entendemos que su propuesta toma en cuenta esta inquietud y por esta razón se va a poder alojar las personas temporalmente. Su propuesta va a proveer otros servicios más para adelantar la transición del asilo lo más rápido posible. CRLA thanks you for this proposal to use state funds to provide shelter to asylum seekers. Your proposal is a priceless gift, a gift of hope. Asistencia Legal les da las gracias por su propuesta tocante el uso de fondos del Estado para alojar a los que piden asilo. Su propuesta es un regalo inestimable, es un regalo de esperanza. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much.
Dylan Castillo.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor, council members, city staff, and community. My name is Dylan Castillo, and I'm here to read a statement on behalf of the Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition. We write as a Calexico-based, community-based organization and first responders of Imperial County to ask the Calexico City Council to vote yes to approve the two proposals submitted by the United Methodist Emergency Migrant Response Network to significantly increase the capacity of the United Methodist Border Response Network and to establish the Migrant Day Center. We respect the important work and role of this council the city administration in responding to the city and the county recognized emergency declared in December of 2022. We also respect the state of California for their leadership in providing the city with $2 million in grant funding from the California Department of Social Services Office of Equity to help the city of Calexico properly respond to the increase in asylum-seeking families arriving in Calexico. We ask for this council to take the next step necessary to build upon a years of long advocacy to secure the contracts necessary for the Calexico United Methodist Church to properly serve families as they arrive and provide them essential services and support them on their journey to their sponsors. Our organization has paid close attention to this matter, and we recognize that 30 to 60 asylum-seeking individuals are released in the city on a daily basis. Since 2022, our organization has supported resident-led efforts to assist with food, clothing, and transportation funds. During the months that the city of Calexico held a temporary worker in downtown Calexico, the city benefited from thousands of dollars of resident funds from our mutual aid efforts in downtown to support asylum-seeking families. Today, you might hear claims from people stating that nobody has ever asked for help from the state on this issue. Let us remind you that this council, let us remind you that the city and the council one step back. Let me remind this council that there have been years of advocacy from local community-based organizations and the city and council to secure assistance from the state. Attached, I include a letter dated January 6, 2023, that was signed by at least 8 community-based organizations, including the Calexico Wellness Center, and sent to Governor Newsom seeking the state's support. We urgently call for you to vote yes on these proposals to ensure asylum seekers don't end up unhoused in our community and in a precarious situation. We need to exercise our values for humanity and dignity. Thank you.
Marilyn Carrillo.
Good evening, Major Romo and council members. My name is Marilyn Carrillo. I'm the community liaison with ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties, based in Imperial County, and former resident of Calexico. Welcoming people seeking asylum with dignity and respect is a deeply rooted value in Calexico and our nation. It is our moral and ethical responsibility to provide assistance to our most vulnerable populations, especially people fleeing persecution who often arrive in our city with nothing more than what they have on. People exercising their legal and human right to seek asylum arrive here in search of safety, but without the necessary resources, they continue to face uncertainty and vulnerability. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is dropping off people seeking asylum, most of whom are simply passing through Calexico and urgently need a safe place for temporary shelter, food for themselves and children, and support in reaching their ultimate destination. Local nonprofits and volunteers supporting people seeking asylum are operating at full capacity, straining their resources to the limit. The state's $2 million funding has given us an opportunity to demonstrate our core values, extending a warm welcome to newcomers, treating them with respect and preserving their dignity, even as they experience some of the most frightening and uncertain situations in their lives. These funds are designated specifically for people seeking asylum. They cannot be reallocated elsewhere. If the council chooses to reject the state's assistance, it sends a message to the entire country that we do not live up to our values, local and national ones. Rejecting these funds would be irresponsible and morally reprehensible. It would be the detriment of our entire region, including the people you serve. Rejecting this support puts people seeking asylum, families, children, and adults fleeing violence and persecution on our streets for an unknown amount of time, without a way to get to their final destination. Our local nonprofits can better meet the needs of people seeking asylum with the state's financial support. Day center and wraparound services can provide a safe haven where individuals can receive the support they need to reach to their ultimate destination in the U.S. This council can prioritize humanity by accepting our proposed bid and supporting the needs of this population, who face unique challenges and risks during their journey, by using the money that has already, again, been allocated. We, the people, strongly urge the City of Calexico to retain the allocated funds and approve the bid from the Calexico Methodist Church. By doing so, you're helping to create a welcoming infrastructure for people seeking asylum and providing assistance to get to their final destination. Thank you all for your time.
Blanca Morales.
Before we do that, I think there needs to be a motion to extend the meeting. Let's do another 15 inches, you know. Aye, well, just take it. Aye.
Good evening, everyone. Is everyone awake? So I'm having a hard time staying up. I'm Blanca Morales. I am a CEO founder of a medical clinic here, nonprofit in Calexico for 7 years now. And I do have a lot of empathy with the situation that's happening with the asylum seekers. One of the questions from one of the ladies that came here from out of town that took her 4 hours to drive here, why there weren't a whole lot of applicants applying for this grant, I've had the same question. As I reviewed this request for proposal, one of the things that I noticed is that it wasn't very, it didn't welcome a whole lot of other nonprofits. Number one, in my case, it wasn't within the scope of our clinic, which I strongly believe that there needs to be a health assessment. There are high positive tuberculosis with the asylum seekers that are coming. Unfortunately, they do not qualify for Medi-Cal. We, if you guys are not from here, have not had a hospital in 25 years here in Calexico. We don't even have an urgent care. So guess who gets the burden on this? The city of Calexico. Our firefighter just left. They're trying to get a second fire station on the other side of Calexico. So it does put a big burden on the city of Calexico firefighters and paramedics. So it is something that they're going to need. Esperanza, you're going to have to deal with it with or without this grant. But I think that I believe we need to table it. We need to bring more nonprofits to the table, and then we also need to make sure there's a good oversight on this project. That $2 million is going to go quickly because they do not qualify for Medi-Cal. And healthcare is expensive, and I saw the numbers that you're projecting 50 asylum seekers a day. I don't know if we have numbers right now from our firefighters or paramedics on how many are we collecting, how many people are coming here a day, and my heart goes out to them because I have other nonprofit organizations in San Diego that are dealing with behavioral health issues because these people that are coming across are in really bad, poor shape, that these workers that are doing the nonprofit work to help them are now having to seek counseling because it's really bad. So we just need to be prepared with what's really happening. We don't get as many as people get in San Diego. And I do talk to a lot of nonprofits down there. So it's not an easy task. And it's $2 million is nothing, okay? So that's my take, table it. Thank you.
Ismael Arbizu.
I would like to just make a comment, just in response to her question. We have 75 people being released every day. That's the minimum. Sometimes we have more if the detention facility releases additional families, so sometimes we can make up to 110 a day. I just want to mention that, yes, because I just want to answer her question. Thank you.
Okay, buenas noches, everyone. I support this grant. We have to pass this grant because if we don't pass this, we don't support whatever we already brought into the city. What are we doing? What is all the fight? This is a new item, if you don't remember. Do you remember? Thank you. Okay, so 2 people that left today fought everything, put everything for these people. We live in a border community, and we focus to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. What does that mean? Should it mean only the taxpayers and the people that live in Calexico? Should it mean the people that go through Calexico? We have networks of churches and charity working together, already ready, saying, hey, give us a yes, and we're going to keep on doing more of what we're already doing. If we do not approve of this, believe me, during all of COVID, people were just being dropped off in the Greyhound. The ICE detainees, everyone that got detained in ICE, if you had COVID, they didn't care. They'll just drop you in the middle of downtown Calexico, fend for yourself. And there would be people thinking, hey, it's just homeless migrants y todo eso. La gente no sabía para dónde ir, cómo conectarse con la gente que se tiene que conectar. If we support this, we're going to be able to make community, make an easy pathway for those refugees that enter this town and leave this town quicker. If we do not support this right now, it's like the same analogy of cutting or putting a Band-Aid or healing the fire station. If you don't heal this issue right now, we're going to get more homeless. And I know a lot of people don't like unsheltered people. So we need to help these people now before in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, van a decir, ay, es que los migrants, nadie puso caso, nadie ayudó downtown, now it's filled with migrants. It's like, no, this city is made of migrants. You probably come from a migrant family. I think most of you guys in the council came from a migrant family. Ustedes son muy orgullosos de ser migrantes, pero cuando llegan a la puerta, los mandan para atrás. No, señor. So yes, refugees have full legal right to be in the U.S. They have full right to ask for refugees. That's the law. And if you guys didn't know, Jesus was a migrant. Jesus was being persecuted by the state. He was being followed by state violence. There's a lot of the migrants we see here at the border. What would Jesus do? Right? If Jesus wouldn't approve and no migrants, do you think Jesus would say that? I don't think so. I believe that Jesus would accept those that need help. I believe that Jesus or whoever you believe in would look for those that need help and try to help those people. Those 2 millions are there. 2 million is a lot compared to nothing, right? So, make the right choice, y'all. Those people left, they did a lot of work. I hope you guys can put up the work that they did too. So please, hay gente que puede cambiar el mundo. Los migrantes han hecho Estados Unidos, ¿sí o no? Or is it all Native Americans that did this? No, we all did it together. Migrants, it's a whole melting pot. We can't be saying no migrants today when the last 250 years has just been us. Yes, I'm just putting down the nail that we should approve this. Yes, thank you.
Joanna Garcia Sanchez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joanna Garcia, and I'm a resident from Calexico. I live in 708 Birch Street, a few houses next to the church. I am here as a concerned mom, a concerned resident, and neighbor, and as a person that works with children, about the asylum being taking place in the church. There's so many children around, and I live there. I don't know. I'm not against you helping the people, because I appreciate the work that you do for them, and it's great. But the thing is that I live there, so I see the people roaming around. I can be outside with my children because I don't feel safe sometimes. There was, last year, I was outside with my children, and all of a sudden this person came, and he was staring at my children and at my niece, and he wasn't doing anything, but he was just like staring, and it was scary for us. So what we did, we went running inside, and then we came outside again, and this person was outside the church because most of the time they're sleeping outside the church. I know this is serious. They have to take care, like, for the shelter. I'm pro for the shelter, but not the shelter being at the church. Because we have the dual elementary around, we have high school, we have the Dianza, and there's always children passing by. So if we have the shelter there, we have, as you mentioned, the detention center that releases the people. We have kids there. My priority is the children. I work with children, so that's my main point. Like, if you are gonna spend like the money or in these people, I'm a migrant, like you say. Well, my parents came here and I came here too as a migrant, so I'm pro for this, but just take it somewhere else where there's not so many children involved. Not it was also like 3 weeks ago, that there was this person, I don't know if he was drugged or something, but he was jumping around. We were at night outside, and this person was jumping up and down, and my children were scared again. So what happened? We had to go inside again because they're roaming around the neighborhood. Some of my neighbors were here, but they had to leave. They're against this too, like against the shelter being in the church. So please, before approving anything, just take into consideration that children are around. Not only my children, not only the neighbors' children, but the schools that are around there. There's a preschool. I used to work at the preschool. There's a preschool right behind that church. I think that's the safety there. We have to think about the children first, and then about these people that's coming down from over other places. So, thank you for your time, and hopefully you get to have a shelter, but somewhere else where there's not so many children involved. Thank you.
Mr. Quesada?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Cristal Quesada. I'm here to read two statements that were emailed from people representing organizations. The first one is Efe Erukanure, representing the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee and the Johnson Chapel African Methodist Church. So I'll just read a strip because I know we're on time. So this issue resonates deeply with me, as I firmly believe in the fundamental value of supporting vulnerable individuals seeking refuge. It is our moral obligation to extend a helping hand to those in need, ensuring that Calexico remains a compassionate and welcoming city. The other statement is from Paulina Reyes, managing attorney at the Imperial Immigrant Defenders Law Center. My name is Paulina Reyes, and I am a managing attorney at IMDEF. IMDEF has an office in San Diego that provides legal services to individuals in removal proceedings in San Diego County and Imperial County. IMDEF is also one of the leading NGOs on the ground receiving asylum seekers that are dropped off by Border Patrol at transit stations in San Diego. We have firsthand knowledge of the needs of asylum seekers at the border and confidentially say that this important work is not possible without coordination between community members and local governments. We urge you to adopt the bid provided by the United Methodist Emergency Border Response Network, which is ready to serve this population and expand on their services. It is important that the money allocated is used as it was intended to efficiently serve and welcome asylum seekers. These wraparound services are not only crucial for providing immediate humanitarian assistance to asylum seekers, but also play a critical role in making Calexico a welcoming place, promoting diversity and building an inclusive environment where people can find support. Respectfully, Paulina Reyes. Thank you.
Lisa Tailinda?
Hi, good evening, residents, staff, and council members. My name is Lisa Tailinda. I live at 1236 Fiesta Avenue here in Calexico. I request the council table the item for further information. This is compassionate work that's being done. Whether it goes there, goes somewhere else, I'm going to merely speak on technicalities. It's not zoned for that use. We have members from Planning Commission here that can understand the zoning code. So if you go look up the zoning code, R1 residential doesn't allow for temporary shelters or homeless shelters. So with that said, I think that that's something that needs to go be reevaluated, the location or whatever the council directs. But in terms of land use, just like these people come here and go to their designated areas or intake, whatnot, we have zoning, and that says what can and can't go. So whether we just found out that the Methodist Church has been providing overnight, that's not the point here, that there's code enforcement, compliance, how to move forward, but you don't continue something that goes against your ordinance. So the zoning doesn't allow for that use there. And I think that's something that needs to be looked into, especially if you have residents coming and voicing their concerns. Were they notified that they're going to be having people in that area that they don't regularly see, etc.? Thank you. So I hope you table the item for further information.
Jesus Solano, 426 Rosemont. I recommend,
Before you continue, Mr. Solano, I know I said 11:15, let's just do until 11:30 and that's it, so we
Okay.
can get
I'm
on
gonna
with
make
this
it
item.
short.
So 11:30, so.
Yeah, I'll make it short. I recommend this board not to accept these resolutions, okay? If you do the same thing that happened with the fire department station number 2, that's what's gonna happen. Let's be honest, we don't have funding. Forget about the $2 million. We locally do not have funding. We don't have personnel in the fire department, police department, and here at City Hall. We don't have that manpower, okay? These people are outsiders. They can deal with that some other place. Don't forget San Diego. Don't forget San Diego. South Bay Community Service, $6 million, okay, for 6 months. They came out 1 month short. They couldn't deal with it. We will not be able to handle it. Do not create Calexico a destination point. That's what they want to do. They want to create Calexico destination point. That's how come these 2 idiots that left, no economic development down center. If we don't have economic development, it's dying. Downtown is dying. If we don't have economic development, there's no money for anyone. Do not accept this item.
Who's gonna go first? You want me to go first? Cabello, you wanna go first? No? All right, I'll go first. Well, let me start by saying this as a point of reference to my comments, and I want to make it real short because I've already spoken this many times. Okay. First, I'm not opposed to immigrants coming to the United States. Certainly not out of town. Not about that. Okay. But immigration laws have politicized the whole thing. It's a federal issue. We already have limited resources in our city. We can't even provide water, electricity. I mean, resources not there. Public safety, like I said, is a big issue for me. Like Blanca said, Calexico Wellness Center is a health issue as well. My question is, why isn't El Centro, Raleigh, Imperial, why don't they have a center over there? The other thing also, Oakville talked about this migrant center about a year ago, 2 years ago, I think it was, and they were really against it for many reasons. I read the report, I read the articles. For those reasons, I'm going to oppose to this program. Thank you. Yeah, I'll make a motion to oppose this program.
Can I get a more clear direction? If you were to oppose to this item, could you please elaborate on whether or not we have to return the funding? I just want to get clear direction. What would you like me to do? To postpone it, to decline it, to return the funds? I just need direction.
Yeah, return the funds.
Okay.
Simple. Yeah.
Send ID equity back at the same time.
Okay.
Do we have a,
Does this goes to return it?
the motion on the table from Mr. Morales?
Yeah, I made a motion. Is anybody going to talk about it or going to vote on it or what? No.
No,
No table.
no. The motion is to return the funds and decline this
What
project,
is
this
that cost?
proposal.
Where is that cost? ¿Cuánto te va a costar regresar?
All the funds that we received from the state, because the money came about a month and a half ago, is put into interest-bearing account. So if we return the funding, we have to pay back with interest, but it's in an account that is creating interest, so it's
yeah.
okay. We're not, the city will not lose funding.
Okay.
to speak on this item, but, you know, again, to say that the council fought for this, it wasn't the council. It was the entire council. Go back to the minutes and you will find some answers there. I know this is a human, you know, crisis and humanitarian crisis, but this is something that I always said from day one, that our municipality shouldn't be getting involved. And excuse me, I'm talking, I gave you the respect. So, thank you. Now, if we can just return this funding, and if they can repurpose this funding to the nonprofits, where, you know, there has been other facilities, just like the you know, Barberworth, and the airport, right? But that funding was going directly to the nonprofits.
Yes.
I don't see how our city should get involved. You said that from day one, if you're not gonna deny that you said from day one that you don't have the capacity.
I don't
You don't
have
have
the
the staff.
capacity. Yes,
Okay.
you're correct.
So, but we're still gonna be responsible for reporting, for making sure that this is going through the process. And we're just going through this exercise.
Yes.
So, with that, you know, put in the table from day one, we still went with that. And we're here. And I don't disagree that this is needed. But as a municipality, I can't really put more on you because I'm gonna give you more work that has to be done. And you're gonna have to have staff, you know, help you out. But to take staff from the minimum staff that you have and work on this, I think it's a disservice to the community. So we really need to concentrate on taking care of our house first, and that's what I said from the beginning. Before, let's help ourselves first before we can help someone else. So, with that,
So you second the motion?
to
I made the motion, you second it? Okay.
Yes, okay.
Gloria Alvarado,
No.
Councilmember Javier Moreno,
No.
Councilmember Camilo Garcia.
motion is to send it back, right? Just to clarify.
Just to clarify the motion
I made the
again.
motion, I don't want this program, and send the money back, simple.
So,
You voted yes to return them funding. Okay, so,
So we want me to make it again, or, because I know I voted differently, right? So based on discussion, I make a motion not to approve the
not to-
project, okay? And the money that was going to be the project, return it
okay.
to where it's gotta go.
was already second.
So vote is
So
yes.
it's a motion and a second. Do you not take roll call? Okay.
Mayor Gloria Romo,
No?
And I say yes?
Yes.
Okay. Future item.
Yeah, the last item, future items, so